Does that ever feel that everyone else is building something and you're just perhaps trying to figure out things as you go and you haven't really got anything set up? Because that had been me for, and still somewhat is for quite a while. And in this sort of book here, um, I believe the beginning of this year, I wrote down a normal day in what in basically 1 year's time. And it would be to do deep work in the morning, to be surrounded by nature and sun, have a partner who respects me, surrounding myself with high energy people, being able to secure, an income and to be able to support my parents and just generally be able to spend time in nature, the sea, and just viewing nice scenery. And this was something which like I said before, had written out at the beginning of this year. And now that we're, well, effectively more than halfway through the year, it's safe to say I haven't really made a crazy amount of progress on that. Although I have, I believe, been working pretty hard. And, like I've watched YouTube videos and such, and you'll see things on YouTube, Instagram, and such of people that just seem to have things figured out. People that are building stuff, maybe it's the new AI trend that's coming out that's made someone have much money, or perhaps it's the lifestyle that someone's now having because of XYZ. And it can almost feel, or at least, to me, and it has been, quite intense sometimes where it just can feel like you need to have everything sorted out and figured out. And at the moment for me, like, although I've sort of been working on my LinkedIn lead generation business for the last 2.5 years, it's not where I want it to be. And by any means, it's something which I've actually come to hate because it's not something I really enjoy as much, or perhaps really enjoyed at all. I believe I actually got into it just for the sake of money. And so when I look at these sort of goals and things that I wanted to achieve, I guess, probably what, maybe in just under 6 months' time, I realized that it's a lot more difficult to just go from where you are to where you want to be. Like it's not as streamlined as I once thought. And I guess really when I come down to the sort of problem, I think, well, what is it that I should be doing, right? What is it that I should be building that is going to allow me to have the lifestyle that I want? Because obviously there's plenty of stuff online that tells you and shows you that it is possible and there are ways of going about doing it. But, what is right for you? What is right for me? And I was watching one of Jack Hopkins' videos a couple of days ago. He's a great guy. And one of the questions that he was sort of asking is that if you had all the money in the world, but you still had to work 4 to 5 hours a day, what would you do? And that was a really powerful question and I'm really, really passionate about being able to ask myself better questions because, it's going to help me understand a bit more about what it is that I want. And that question made me realize that, well, I don't actually want to do a lot of the stuff that people are maybe saying that I should do. I don't really want to be jumping on all of these sort of AI trends. I don't really want to be, perhaps, well, really even scaling or even trying to give too much more energy to this sort of LinkedIn lead gen business that I've been spending 2.5 years trying to take somewhere. And actually, what I want to do is I want to focus on creating content. I want to focus on being able to help, other men be able to turn up the best version of themselves. I mean, this is the whole idea of, why I created the input reset to begin with, because I found that for me, a lot of the inputs that I had in my life gave me bad outputs. And I've changed a lot of my inputs now over the last, 2.5 years, and it's allowed me to output so much better and allow me to achieve more of the things that I wanted to achieve, allow me to build more confidence, which is why I now feel as if, okay, well, if this is the thing I want to do, then I want to pour my heart and soul into it. Now, that's obviously maybe perhaps a bit more different to what, most sort of stuff online will tell you. And I know from sort of working on, my sort of current business and obviously this input reset stuff, that not everyone is going to have confidence in you. And I'm pretty lucky to have a family that does actually, somewhat support me with the stuff. But I can also tell that, they could also, maybe might not have as much confidence in me. And there's going to be so many people around you which, no matter what it is that you want to go and do, might have an opinion or two to say about what you should and shouldn't do. And I'm at a point where I just believe that I need to have utmost confidence in myself, that if I want to go and do whatever project it is, right? So for example, one of the things I'm doing as a project is I'm developing my own video game using ChatGPT, right? And it's like, well, if I want to go about doing that, then I need to do that and I need to have full confidence that I can do it, because if I don't have confidence in myself and the ability to go and do it, who else is going to? So I guess really it's like, what I'm really saying is, when you see all of these people online, living whatever lifestyle, and perhaps you sort of sit there and just feel that you're nowhere near where you want to be. I guess really the question to ask yourself is, the one that Jack Hopkins was was talking about, in the sense of, if money were not a thing, or if you had all the money in the world, but you still had to work 4 to 5 hours a day, what would you do? Because in my position at the moment, I'd much rather be working on things and speaking about things that are passionate and interesting to me, or problems that I have been able to solve for myself, and try and help other people solve those problems for themselves, or at least give those people more clarity, or perhaps in this video just to actually, say to a few people that if you're feeling a similar thing to what I have been feeling, that you're not the only person, then that's what matters most to me. And I think really from there, it's just going to be figuring out stuff over time. But I guess really, when you are looking then at all of these people online, of the people making the money, people living the lifestyle you want, all these trends, all the things that you should and shouldn't do, just ask yourself deeper questions. Ask yourself more specific questions about what it is that you want to do. What are the problems that you have solved for yourself? And maybe that's stuff you can speak about. I'm not saying you need to teach other people X, Y, Z. I'm not saying you need to start selling stuff. I'm just saying that if you're someone which just, feels a bit overwhelmed in terms of what to do, just start asking yourself more specific questions, right? About what it is that you want to do, what it is that you feel that perhaps in the future you could do. Because, like I said before, right, in terms of what I've got here, and in terms of, effectively the normal day in my life in terms of a year's time, it's like, look, all the stuff is really useful to do, but is that the stuff you want to do, or is that the stuff other people tell you should do? Because I know that the LinkedIn lead generation business that I've sort of been doing is something which wasn't really something I would say that I was passionate about. It was more something I just got into for the sake of money, and because other people told me that it was something that I could do. But I'm going to leave it there with you at that, because I think as long as you are focusing on asking yourself more questions and more specific questions about what it is that you want to do, things that are important to you, I believe that that's going to help you get the most clarity.